As we recognize this Black History Month, each Monday in February, News 19 is partnering with La Crosse's Enduring Families Project to share stories of some of the area's prominent African-American residents. Denise Christie Moss tells us first the tale of a well-known local Olympian and a historic presidential candidate.
George Pogue is La Crosse's most famous resident. He won 2 bronze medals in the 3rd Olympiad in St. Louis in 1904 for the 200 and 400 meter hurdles. He came to La Crosse as a child in 1884. He was 4 years old. He came with his parents, who were workers in the home of the Pettibone family. George Pogue and his sister Nellie were graduates of La Crosse High School, which is renamed Central High School. Because of his diligent studies, George was able to graduate as salutatorian of his class in 1899. However, while he was in high school, he was very successful on the track team, and he continued his success with the track team at UW-Madison. He was the first African American, though, to run as a Badger, and he was the first to be a Big Ten champion while at UW-Madison. After he graduated was the Olympics, where he was very successful in 1904. He stayed on in St. Louis to teach at Sumner High School, which was the first all-black high school west of the Mississippi, and he taught there for 10 years. Eventually, he ended up in Chicago working in the post office, and he remained there until he retired. And then he passed away in Chicago in 1962. Now, George Edwin Taylor has a very interesting story. The first African American to run as President of the United States in 1904. But he had very humble beginnings. He was orphaned at the age of 5. After going through several couples as foster parents, he ended up as a foster child of Nathan Smith of Nathan Hill. Nathan and Sarah Smith took him in, and he spent his childhood right there in West Salem. Nathan Smith sent him to Wayland College in Beaver Dam. After he graduated from Wayland College, he opened his own newspaper entitled The Wisconsin Advocate, and it was located at 211 Main Street. But he couldn't keep it for any more than a year because the newspaper was trashed. He took refuge with his foster father, Nathan Smith, but then eventually moved on to Oskaloosa, Iowa, which had a larger African American community. The political climate at the time was separate but equal is legal, and George Taylor felt the need to shine a light on the need for stronger civil rights. This may have led to his deciding to accept the nomination from the National Liberty Party to become the first African American to run for president in 1904. His platform included wanting pensions for former enslaved people, and he wanted to add stricter anti-lynching laws. He eventually moved to Jacksonville, Florida, where he remained for the rest of his life.
And our thanks to Denise and the Enduring Families Project, as well as Rebecca Mormon-Krieger, whose research helped put together the stories and visuals you saw. You can learn more about the Enduring Families Project by going to the La Crosse Historical Society website, a link to which we've got over at WXW.com.